Hey everybody, welcome to our all new video with Matt. Today I'm going to show you how I made this awesome cross decor out of scrap wood. So stick around, I'm going to show you how. Alright guys, let's get started on this video. I have my boards that we're going to be using laid out. I cut all my boards at 22 inches the length, and the widths are different. I kind of just scattered them out, and you could do the same thing. Like this one right here, you can tell much bigger board compared to some of the other ones. Some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller. That doesn't matter. Just pattern out your boards the way that you want them. Get them nice and lined up, nice and flat, just like that. Then the next thing you want to do is you need to take your tape measure. You need to measure from the top down to the bottom of your piece, and it's going to be different numbers out there, guys, depending on how wide your boards are that you stack up together, right? So anyways, go ahead and measure that piece. Once you get that piece cut out, like for instance, I'm using just an old pallet board right here for the back. And once you get that piece cut out, you need to measure, find the center of your board, and go ahead and cut this board right down the middle. Whether you're using a circle saw or a table saw, doesn't really matter, but go ahead and cut this board right down the middle. Alright, so now that we have our board right here cut right down the middle, just like that, that'll give you your two pieces for your outsides. But when you arrange your boards, you probably went ahead and did just like I did. You arranged them so that the pretty side's facing you, right? So right now is the time to make sure that the pretty sides that you liked and picked in your wood pile are facing down, right? So in my example, I would need to flip over all of my boards because they are laid out the way I like them looking up at me. Just gonna flip them all just like that. Alright, so I'm gonna get those nice and lined up just like that. Nice and straight and tight together. Alright, so once I've got all of those lined up, then we make sure that we take our straight outer end, guys, because sometimes the saw is not always going to be perfect. And then we just want to lay that piece on to back like that right there. And we're going to do the same exact thing on this side right here. And then we need to go ahead right now and screw those into place where we want them to go. Alright, so before we just start screwing it down, guys, what you want to do is just go ahead and make some marks. Now, for your smaller boards, you probably only need like one screw right down the middle to hold them in place. But on your larger boards, you're probably going to need like 2 screws, guys. So what I'm going to do is just make some marks real quick. I'm going to make a mark right there. They ain't got to be lined up perfect. It's the back. On this one, I'll do one right there. On this larger one, like I said, I'm going to do 2. One there. One there is good. Alright, so then once I mark out one side, what I'm going to do is use a number 2 countersink bit, guys, and I'm just going to countersink my holes. That way our screws don't wind up splitting our boards. So yeah, just going to give the top of those holes a little countersink, and then we are going to be using the 6x1 1/4 inch size screws, guys, to screw it down. So like I said, let's go ahead and make sure everything's lined up. Get all of our holes countersunk, drilled in. Then we will go and screw our backing boards into place. And once we get those into place, then we will be able to measure the distance from here to here. and then we're going to cut that one time like a pallet board again. Cut that measurement one time, and then we'll cut this board right down the middle, and that's going to give us our two boards that go this way and this way. That way everything stays connected. Alright, like I said, once we got these two mounted right here, now we can go ahead and measure the distance between here and this board right here, and do the same thing for up top to make sure they are the same. In my case, they both are the same at 23 3/4. So I'm going to cut out another pallet slat at 23 3/4 and do the same thing. Cut this one right down the middle, and like I said, that'll give us our pieces to go here and our piece to go up top right there. So now what we're going to do once we've got that done right there, guys, is we need to go ahead and measure. You want to do all of your drawing with your pen or pencil on the back side, not on the front side. But what we are going to do now is measure from here to here, find our center mark, and go ahead and mark the center of the piece. Alright, so the way that I found that center, like I said, guys, is you know your board is 22 inches, so obviously the center would be 11. So I just pull from one side, I mark 11 here, do the other thing down there, pull 11, mark it. Then I take my speed square and I just go as far as I can in a straight line, mark that, mark that. Then I just take me a slat board right here with a nice straight edge, and I laid it on there just like that. And I went ahead and pulled my line across. So now we got our center mark outlined right there. So now we need to go ahead and work with our cross. Now, the way that's going to go, like I said, this is the bottom, no design in it, and this is the top, no design in it. So that means these are my boards that are going to form the cross, right? So what I'm going to do is it's going to come up one board, and then this big board that's going to give the height. And it's going to go up to this board one more time, so that is going to be the height, right? So I put this smaller board right here that is 2 3/4 inch. That is going to be the width of our cross right there, guys. So what I want to do basically is get a measurement of 2 3/4, and you want to put that on the center line of half of that of 2 3/4, guys. And you want to lay that down, make you a mark there, and make your mark there, and that is going to give you the same exact spread. That way the cross stays even all the way around, right? So then we will go ahead and mark those marks on our board, and then we will pop straight line with the speed square down and keep going till it comes up. And then here will be our cross part, right? So we will go to that next. Let's go ahead and get our outline on this on the wood. Alright, guys, so as you can see, what I've done now is, like I said, I went off my center line right here, measured the middle of that board, got my marks on both sides right here. So that is where we will be cutting our boards out right there, guys, except for, of course, the bottom and top. We're just using our lines right here. But on our cross part that goes this way, right, from your center line, I recommend going about 6 inches, and that'll make it about that wide. So put your tape measure on 6 inches right there, and then go ahead and make a mark there, and then do the same thing, make a mark there. Alright, and then what we're going to do is take our square. We're going to have to take this board off, and we're going to mark it there with our square, mark it there with our square. And then we know that this part will be taken out. That's going to give us the inside of the cross part. We will cut up to this part right here, cut that out, and we will cut these out right here, guys. So once you've got your cross pattern laid out, we can now go ahead and start cutting our boards. And you can do it one at a time, all at a time, doesn't matter. But what I like to do, because we're doing it like this style, is what I'm going to do is just one at a time, cut, take these screws loose, take each board off one at a time, and just cut my marks, and then put them right back into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all of my boards cut right now, and we will be back. Alright, so now we got all of our boards cut, put back into place. You can see the formation of the cross right there, guys. So now our two little inside backer boards that we had cut out earlier, made a mark at both ends just like that, and then one using that same center line that's still left, put one right in the middle. We're going to countersink those holes and then screw those into place, lined up with the bottom pieces of our post right here, and we will do the exact same thing up there also. So let's go ahead and get those into place next. And then we will repeat that for the top. Alright, so now we have both of those boards on, guys. So the last two little boards we need to put on will be a support for these inside pieces. That way they're not flapping around right there, guys. So what I'm going to do is just measure from this end right here all the way to this end right here, and whatever that measurement may be is the two boards I need to cut. So what we're going to do is just take another slat board, right, and we're just going to mark it at 1 foot. That's the space between here and this board right here. And we're going to do the same thing we did with our outer boards, is we're going to mark it at 1 foot, and then we're going to cut it right down the middle, and that will give us our two pieces to screw in place right here. Now up top doesn't really need them. They're pretty short and stiff boards, so they're not going to flap. But for this bottom middle, I do recommend putting those boards. So I'm going to get my boards cut, get my holes pre-drilled just like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach those now. Hey everybody, welcome to an all new video with Matt. Today I'm going to show you how I made